Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Early Morning Barking Podcast, talking about BPD and NPD by somebody that has both. Now, I will warn you that we're on a wireless microphone today, so I'm going to be pacing the room like a mad person. So if you can hear footsteps and that sort of thing, they're actually my footsteps and that sort of thing. So don't be put off. I'm gesticulating a lot while I talk as well. You can't see that. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's like I'm on the phone. So anyway, I hope you're well. We're going to talk today about NPD and denial. It isn't just a river in Egypt. Yeah, I'm hilarious. No, denial. It's a very useful tool for somebody with NPD because it can get you out of things and it can get you things. But ultimately, it's the thing that hurts us the most, right? I mean, we start with the obvious ones because I think in the world of NPD, we always have a tendency to concentrate, first of all, on the things that the person with NPD does to other people. So I guess, okay, denial. You said such and such a thing. No, I didn't. I mean, we know this a lot as gaslighting, but what is it? It's denial, right? If I say it didn't happen, if I stick to the plan that it didn't happen, that I didn't do the thing, whatever the thing was, then I can't be in trouble for it, right? That's really how it goes. I don't know that it's a conscious thing. I don't know that I ever meant to do it. I mean, oh gosh, to want to do it, to willingly mislead, to deny in order to get what you want. This is very sort of dark triad stuff. It's very Machiavellian in its nature, and it's wrong to suggest that that's entirely why we're doing things and that sort of thing. Really, as I've said with narcissism, with NPD, everything comes down to shame, guilt, fear, that sort of thing. And so if we're denying that we've done something, if we're denying that we've hurt you, if we're denying that we've said the bad thing, that we did the bad thing, whatever, it's out of fear and shame and guilt and that sort of thing. It's because we don't want the consequences of our actions, or because we're ashamed of them, because we didn't want to hurt you, but we have, and we sort of have to go with it, right? Sometimes in NPD, you find yourself sort of talking yourself into being worse than you are, because you sort of have to go with it. Sometimes you push through. It's like, no, I've said the thing and I'm just whatever, I'm going with it, you know? And it's hard. It's an unpleasant feeling, pushing yourself to be a worse person just to sort of not feel bad about the thing that you've done. Because ultimately you don't want to feel bad about the thing that you've done because you did it and you should feel bad about it. And because we're not necessarily actually devoid of empathy and emotion and that sort of thing, we can see that we've hurt you and maybe we didn't mean to. God, the number of times I hurt my girlfriend that I didn't mean to, emotionally, obviously. You know, when that relationship was coming to an end, she was crying about something I'd said or done on a daily basis, right? That was one of the challenges of our relationship towards the end. Let's see if you can go a month without making me cry. And I'd never know how I'd managed to do it. It would always be a shock. Why are you crying? I would never understand. And then the therapy. And now I don't make people cry because I learned the things I said and did, and the way I was, and how that did upset people, and quite clearly. But I digress. But we can deny stuff. We can use that to manipulate you, to control you, to get what we want, and that's a really obvious thing. But I actually think, to a certain extent, it's quite rare. I don't think we all do that all the time. I think it's just the same with the gaslighting in general. It's a very stereotypical YouTubey view of narcissism and people with NPD. And the truth is that's a very rare thing that we do. You've got to be very controlling. You've got to be very wanting to sort of take advantage of other people. And that emotion and that desire isn't really there as deeply as YouTube in general would like you to think it is, I don't think. I mean, I can only speak for myself, and I have spoken to other people with the same condition, and it's not, it's not ever what YouTube wants you to think it is, unless it's my YouTube, of course, in which case, listen closely and pay attention. And so that's how we hurt others. I mean, it's all down to fear and shame and guilt. Everything in NPD is fear, shame, guilt. That's it, right? If we deny it happened, then we don't have to deal with it. And look, this works. This works as a technique. Just keep saying, no, I didn't. Just keep saying it in the face of all evidence. No, I didn't. And people just back down, right? It's a bizarre technique, but it works, you know? And I think that it's something that, well, saying you have to be strong against it, there's nothing you can actually do with it. Because in order for something to progress, in order for something in your situation to move forward with your narcissist, you have to have an acknowledgement that something has happened. If someone has hurt you, you need an apology. Whatever. You can't just what are you supposed to do? Be strong, let them hurt you? No. It's such a weird thing. I think the best thing you can do is you have to look at your situation yourself and assess whether it's worth sticking around in this case. Somebody needs to be able to acknowledge what's going on. Otherwise, nothing's ever going to change or get better. And that leads me to the final point of it, which is how the person with NPD ultimately hurts themselves the most. This is ultimately where all the pain is going to and is being saved up for another day to make sure it works and is ready to get you when you're least expecting it, right? Because first of all, hey, you need therapy. No, I don't. I'm great. There you go. That's your number one problem in treating people with NPD. We all know that. Why would we get therapy? We're awesome. We're great. It's you lot with the problem. Why do I need therapy? The biggest problem with people with NPD is getting them into therapy because we don't think we need it. Now, I like to think mine got in by the back door, right? Because as great as I could feel sometimes with the NPD, I also have a much larger dose of BPD sat on top of it. And BPD is much more unescapable as something being wrong. There's only so many times you can be talked down off a multi-story car park by the police before you start saying, do you know what? I think I need therapy, But for me, I was always crying out with that pain. I was always, trying to find help for that. And then when I eventually did, and I started really getting into the depths of what was wrong, of what I was thinking in various situations, and all this other stuff started to come out. That was the NPD being discovered and unearthed. And yeah, I can imagine if I'd only had that, if I didn't have this weight of the BPD to carry with me, I'd, first of all, generally feel a little better day to day, but also I don't know that I'd have sought out therapy. Because why would you? When you're kidding yourself that you feel great, going to therapy just becomes an admission of there being a problem, right? So why would you go if you're great? And so we tell ourselves we're great. We're great, right? We're doing fine. It's everyone else with a problem. Just because we leave a trail of pain in our wake, it's just their fault, really. They deserved it. They had it coming, and we deny it. We force ourselves to think the bad thing. We force ourselves to look down on people, to see ourselves as above them. And all of the other things that come out of NPD. Just through this denial. Just through saying that didn't happen. We have to build up defenses against our own bullshit, quite frankly. We talk about NPD being about putting up walls, having that layer of armor between you and the outside world. If I have my NPD personality, then, that's the thing that people are meeting. That's what people don't like. If they don't like me, that sort of thing. But we also need to put up defenses against our own behavior, because our own behavior is something we know is wrong. We just don't always understand why and how it happened. But we know that we've hurt somebody, and we know that we've caused pain, and we know that that wasn't always what we set out to do. And so when it happens, shame, guilt, upset, all of that stuff, denial. Narcissism is, the NPD has always made far more sense to me. I will keep beating this drum of just look at it all through a lens of fear, shame, guilt, because that's what it is. I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, all that sort of feeling mixed in with I don't know why I'm hurting people, so I just have to kind of convince myself that this is what I do, and those people had it coming, right? I didn't do anything wrong, and that allows you to hurt people more, and that means that you have to further increase your defenses against your own bullshit, and so on and so on and so on. We are living in an eternal cycle of fear, shame, and guilt. And until we get over that fear, shame, and guilt, we're not going to be able to do anything properly. But we don't get to get over that fear, shame, and guilt because we're in denial that it exists in the first place. What a fun condition to have, don't you think? What a fun one. I mean, oh, gosh, I honestly consider myself lucky to have a BPD comorbidity. Right? I honestly do, because were it not for that, were it just pure NPD at the door, then who knows how this would have gone for me? Who knows how this would have gone? Would I have the empathy that I have? Would I care like I do that I don't want to hurt people? Would I be upset when I found out how much I had hurt people? All of these questions that... thank goodness I've never had to find the answer to. I suppose I'm lucky in that way. But ultimately, fear, shame, guilt. That's it. It's getting harder to make content on NPD rather than to just without just tracing it all back to fear, shame, and guilt. It's one of those things. I might make a video about that. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there today. I hope that's been interesting, informative, and slightly entertaining for 10 minutes on your car journey. Maybe you're on the bus with the other people or the train. How are the trains these days? I've not been on one for a while, but I do like going on trains. You want to ask if I've got ADHD? We're talking about trains now. Oh, I need to fill out my patient registration forms to have an ADHD. I forgot again. Whatever. Right, so... if you've heard this and you don't know where it's come from, I have a YouTube channel called Early Morning Barking, like the podcast, and you can go there and find videos that I've made for about 4 years now. Right back, you can go right back to the beginning in 2020 and see my lockdown hair, when no one could get their hair cut for 7 months or whatever it was. It's quite hilarious. And then go to the latest video and go, oh, thank God, it's all right. And hey, I like that beard he's got now. That kind of thing, you know? Go and enjoy those videos. Go and watch that. There's loads more content. Check out the other podcasts. Share things around. Follow me on Patreon. I'm just waffling now and you've probably turned me off, but whatever. Thank you for sticking with me this far. It's been a journey. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.